10:02 a.m. in the ad agency's glass boardroom, the smell of fresh coffee and croissants in the air, my hands shaking around a printed copy of the campaign I'd spent 9 months building, when my boss Tom stands up and presents my entire $2 skincare brand campaign to the client, word for word, slide for slide. I'm a 29-year-old senior copywriter, the one who'd come up with the campaign's core tagline, the one who'd shot the test commercials, the one who'd stayed up every night for 3 weeks perfecting the pitch, the one who'd flown across the country to meet with the client and build the relationship. But Tom stands in front of the room, grinning like he'd done all the work and doesn't even say my name. My boyfriend Jake, who's the agency's art director, who I'd shared every single detail of the campaign with, sits next to him nodding, presenting the visuals I'd helped him design like they were his own. The client loves it, signs the contract on the spot, and the whole room erupts in applause. I confront them in Tom's office after the meeting, the door locked, and Tom smirks, leaning back in his chair. "You're a copywriter," he says. "You don't get credit for the big pitches. You're lucky you even have a job here." Jake laughs and says, "We've been seeing each other for 6 months. This campaign was our ticket to the top. You were just the pawn." That's the first gut punch, the one that makes my knees buckle. The man I'd been dating for 2 years, the man I'd lived with, the man I thought I'd marry had been cheating on me with my boss, and they'd stolen my life's work to advance their own careers. I go home that night to the apartment we shared and pack all my things, while Jake is out celebrating with Tom. I sit in my car in the parking garage, sobbing because I'd put my entire heart and soul into that campaign. I'd turned down 3 other job offers to stay at the agency and work on it, and now it was all gone. Then I remember the hidden watermark I'd embedded in the campaign's core creative. A unique tagline that only I could explain. A hidden reference to my late mom, who'd been a dermatologist, the whole reason I created the campaign in the first place. That's the first reversal. I built a secret into the campaign that no one else could understand, no matter how hard they tried. The next week, the client calls a meeting to go over the launch plan for the campaign. Tom and Jake stand up to present, and the client stops them and says, "Explain the core tagline. What's the meaning behind it?" Tom and Jake freeze, stammering because they have no idea. They stolen the campaign, but they didn't understand the heart of it, the reason it resonated so much with the client. I raise my hand and explain the tagline, the story about my mom, the reason I built the campaign the way I did. The client nods and says, "That's what we signed on for, the heart. Not the pretty slides." I think I've won, only for Tom to pull me aside after the meeting and growl, "You're fired. We're reporting you to the industry board for leaking confidential client information, and we're making sure you never work in advertising again." That's the second reversal, the one that makes me realize they're not just going to let me win. They're going to ruin my entire career. I walk out of the agency furious and start digging into Tom and Jake's work history. That's when I find out that this isn't the first time they've done this. They've stolen campaigns from 4 other junior creatives at the agency, taken all the credit, and gotten those creatives fired when they tried to speak up. I'm not sure what to do when my phone dings. It's the agency's CEO, who I'd met once at the company holiday party. "I saw what happened in the client meeting," she wrote. "I've been investigating Tom and Jake for months for stealing work, embezzling client funds, and creating a toxic work environment. I have all the proof. Will you help me present this to the board?" That's the third reversal. The head of the entire company was on my side, and she'd been waiting for someone to stand up to Tom and Jake. We present all the evidence to the board 2 days later. The timestamp campaign drafts, the proof they'd stolen work from other creatives, the embezzlement records, the recording of Tom threatening to blacklist me. The board is furious and they act immediately. That's the fourth reversal. Tom and Jake are fired that same day, escorted out of the building by security, and the agency issues a full public apology to me and the other creatives they'd hurt. The client pulls their $2 million contract from the agency and calls me directly, offering me the entire campaign to run through my own freelance business. I took the offer, and now, 18 months later, I have my own advertising agency with 12 employees and a client list that includes 5 of the biggest skincare brands in the country. I hired the 4 other creatives Tom and Jake had stolen from, and we've built an agency that values creativity, respect, and giving credit where it's due. I learned that the people who try to steal your work will never be able to steal your talent, your heart, or your vision. The things you build from your soul are yours, and no one can ever take that away from you.